Why do we still read paper? Magazines, hello subscribers! When we think of fashion magazines, we usually imagine publications that showcase trendy clothes or luxury brands that come out every month. However, the magazine we will discuss in depth today, Popeye, is a bit different. This magazine is not simply a book that explains what to wear like a formula, how to create a good atmosphere in life. It's closer to a magazine that discusses attitudes and lifestyles. So when you open Popeye, it's not just filled with simple fashion information. What music you listen to and which old cafe you visit, what books you read, and the types of chairs and lighting you have in your room are described in great detail. Ultimately, this magazine is a media that explains lifestyle itself, rather than just the outer shell of clothing. Today, I will delve into how this magazine, Popeye, started and how it became the Bible for city boys around the world, transcending Japan, exploring its fascinating history and cultural context in depth. Chap-chu-chap-chap-cho. Collecting culture. To understand the history of Popeye, we must first look into the cultural background of Japan in the 1970s. Behind the birth of Popeye, which was founded in 1976, lies a very unique way in which Japan embraced Western culture, particularly American culture. At that time, the style of America, especially California and the college towns in the East, was an object of immense admiration for young people in Japan. Interestingly, what was very natural and ordinary for Americans was something that Japanese editors began to observe and document very meticulously. The back pocket stitch and fit of Levi's jeans, the subtle shape of New Balance sneakers, the sturdy fabric of rugged workwear, the old style of Ivy League college students. They meticulously archived everyday items that even Americans would pass by, without a second thought through local reporting. It's not just a simple trend, it's been organized into a massive culture of taste. Popeye served as a gateway that translated and delivered the vast everyday culture of America to Japanese youth. Not only clothing, but also skateboarding, camping culture in Yosemite, and lifestyles like jogging were all properly introduced to Japan for the first time through this magazine. Chap-chu-chap-chap-cho. City boy in this process. The representative sentiment that Popeye established and spread to the world is the city boy style. Under the cover of Popeye, there is always a subtitle that says Magazine for City Boys. The city boy referred to here does not simply mean a boy living in the city. The city boy defined by Popeye is an attitude. City boy's attitude. They don't overly dress up or show off, but they have clear personal standards. Even when choosing a comfortable oversized shirt, well-fitted denim, or the sneakers they wear every day, they have their own reasons for their style. Rather than covering themselves in expensive high-end brands, they have a cool attitude that values the overall vibe and balance more. These people love nature while living in the city, and they maintain a sophisticated taste without being obsessed with trends. Popeye carefully illustrated a world view that these city boys would admire on the canvas of a magazine every month. Chap-chu-chap-chap-cho. And the Takahiro system. Like all histories, Popeye also faced crises. As the internet became widespread and information overflowed in the 90s and 2000s, the entire paper magazine market was shaken. Popeye also went through a period of wandering and struggling, losing its identity. However, in 2012, with the appointment of editor Takahiro Kinoshita, Popeye experienced a second heyday, a legendary revival. He returned to the essence of the magazine. He boldly discarded the obvious information that comes up with a search on the internet and declared, "Let's create a book that readers want to own." He introduced his unique penmanship typography, illustrations, and an emotional photo spread that feels like a road movie. Instead of dressing models in brand-sponsored clothes and shooting in a studio, We took photos as if capturing the daily life of a boy living in that city by placing models on the streets of New York, London, or Tokyo. It is this unforced naturalness that has started to excite fashion enthusiasts around the world once again. 1-2 Tree. The Aesthetics of Archives, and there is another symbolic book that perfectly showcases this historical flow and context that Popeye has established through the Made in U.S.A. catalog. It is the Made in U.S.A. catalog and similar types of archive books. When you open these books, workwear, vintage items, old toys, and well-worn lifestyle elements are seamlessly mixed together. This is not just a simple product catalog. It is more like a visual hint book that shows what kind of world someone with this taste builds and lives in. So when we look at books or magazines like this, we don't just feel like we're browsing items. Instead, you will experience a deep sense of looking into the wonderful atmosphere of someone else's life, thinking, ah, a person with this taste must have an environment like this, and they must live their life with this attitude. In the end, people are more attracted to the air, taste, and attitude of life that the object embodies rather than the product itself. Creating your own standards and atmosphere. Nowadays, we live in an age of information overload where, with just a few finger movements, we can know the trends of the entire world in real time. However, paradoxically, as the information becomes overwhelming, people begin to ask fundamental questions again. What is true good taste? What kind of life is truly a wonderful life? And this magazine, Popeye, which we talked about today, quietly offers its own hints instead of providing a definitive answer to that question. You don't have to buy expensive things just because others say they're good, rather. It encourages you to gradually create your own standards and atmosphere in your daily life. The reason we still seek out this old paper, magazine, and admire the city boys within it is likely found right here. Popeye is not a magazine that explains clothing, but a magazine that describes the atmosphere of life. And within it, we are reading not just simple fashion information, but the very attitude of living true to oneself. This concludes the story of the history of Popeye magazine and the city boy culture that we prepared for today. How about taking a break from the trending algorithms today and spending a quiet day filled with your own room? Your own music and your own tastes? This has been conveyed from the perspective of the 84 Mag editor. If you enjoyed the video, please subscribe and like it. Thank you. Chop choo, chop chop choo.